Casio are the Toyota of watches.
Sure, I'll go ahead and agree with that analogy. I mean, Casio and Toyota, they are both known for their solid, reliable, no-frills models. But Casio does have some kind of expensive stuff too. It's not just sub-$100 beater watches. Selling my Rolex Explorer was probably my biggest watch collecting mistake. But so was buying it. Breitling better than Tudor? I mean, my initial reaction to that comment was like, no, not a chance. But then I kind of got to thinking about it a little bit, and yeah, I'm actually not so sure. This is a tough one. I really like both of these watches. The Sinn 556 is kind of an all-time favorite amongst watch collectors, including myself, if I'm being honest. The Longines Spirit 33, on the other hand, well, it actually kind of looks like a better watch. The idea of wearing a two-tone Submariner makes you feel subconscious. Really, just don't get one. Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Guy and you're watching Just Bluefish Watch Reviews and my latest episode of Sunday with Guy. It's my weekly show where I field questions and comments from viewers, I discuss stuff that's new or exciting, or just stuff that's on my mind. Now first off, let's go ahead and do a quick wristwatch check. This is the Citizen Suyosa, I think I'm saying that correctly, and it's the one with the white dial. And why am I showing this watch to you guys? Well, this is a new one that I just picked up, and it's one of the 6 watches that I will be including in my subscriber giveaway. It's my push to 100,000 subscribers giveaway, and I will be giving away 6 watches when I hit 100,000 subscribers. So make sure you stay tuned. Now you do gotta be subscribed to win that giveaway. Obviously, it's a push to get to 100,000 subscribers. So how could you not be subscribed? Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, go ahead and hit the like button on this video and turn on the notifications by hitting that bell icon. But yeah, this Citizen watch, I am really impressed with it so far, and I will have a full-length review video on this watch probably in the next week or two, but I did want to share it for a second with you guys and say that, you know what it kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of peak Seiko, when the Sarb 033 and the 35 were watches that you could pick up for a relatively reasonable price. This watch gives me a lot of those same kind of vibes, and yeah, for the price that I paid for this, it is really great value. I have to say, you guys are going to want to stay tuned to see the full review. It's pretty awesome. Now, another piece of news that I have to share with you is that I've been working with a friend of mine on a website. That website is called watchtowear.com. It's a site where you can buy and sell watches, and it is free to list watches for sale. And there is a small fee when you do sell a watch, but that small fee is only 2.5% if you're a watch dealer. And currently, there is no fee for individuals when they sell their watches. So why don't you go ahead, do me a favor, jump over to watchtowear.com, sign up for an account, maybe list some watches for sale if you want, but more importantly, check the site out. And after you're done, come back here and let me know, what do you think about that website? Leave it in the comments down below. Now, with all of that said, let's jump into some viewer questions and comments.
Breitling is better than Tudor, and it isn't close.
Is Breitling better than Tudor? I mean, my initial reaction to that comment was like, no, not a chance. But then I kind of got to thinking about it a little bit, and yeah, I'm actually not so sure. So let me know, what do you guys think? Is Breitling better than Tudor? Let me know. Leave it in the comments down below. As far as collections go, in their catalogs, Tudor has what exactly? I mean, they have the Black Bay divers in various sizes, plus some GMT models and some chrono models, and they have the Pelagos divers. And then after that, not much really. I mean, maybe the Ranger, but yeah, there isn't really much interesting. I mean, what? We have the Tudor Royal? That's kind of gross if I'm being fair. What about the 1926? That's also pretty awful in my opinion. And again, these are just my opinions. We can all disagree But yeah, I don't like either of those watches. Then there's the P01. That was probably the most mocked release of the 2029 watch release season, if I remember correctly. And yes, that is technically still in the Black Bay lineup, but it sort of transcended the Black Bay line and it took on a life of its own when it came out. But yeah, I mean, that's really about it. Then we have, on the other hand, Breitling. And Breitling has the Navitimer, nice watch, the Chronomat, the Premier, the Top Time, Avenger, Super Ocean, a bunch of watches. While none of them, other than maybe the Navitimer, are total home runs in my book, I would say that the Navitimer is probably much more horologically important than any watch from Tudor. Now, in reality, neither brand is loaded with banger model after banger model, but they both have a couple of really good watches in their lineups. And yeah, maybe Breitling is better if we really, really want to split hairs. I'm not entirely sure. At the beginning of this thought experiment, I thought Tudor knocked it out of the park and Breitling was like way below it. But after kind of thinking about it, I'm going to say that they're pretty even at a minimum. And maybe Breitling is a little bit better. What do you think?
Hi Guy, between these two, the Sinn 556i and the Longines Spirit 37mm, what would be your pick?
Man, this is a tough one. I really like both of these watches. The Sinn 556 is kind of an all-time favorite amongst watch collectors, including myself, if I'm being honest. The Longines Spirit 33, on the other hand, well, it actually kind of looks like a better watch, though it's quite a bit more money. So in this case, we will be talking about US dollars because I have to discuss the prices. And I know that the person that left this comment is over in Europe, so I apologize for that, but it's the best I can do. Now, the Sinn is about $1,600, and that's on a bracelet. It would be less on a strap, but I would personally go for the bracelet. And for that money, you get, honestly, kind of a fairly basic watch. I mean, it's a good watch, don't get me wrong, but nothing mind-blowing. It's a 38.5mm stainless steel watch with a plain black dial, an SW200-1 Solita movement, although they say it's a premium-grade version of the Solita. You get 200 meters of water resistance, sapphire crystal, maybe no anti-reflective coating, though. I don't think they said that there was on the website. I did review this watch once, a long time ago, and I can't honestly remember. But I think no AR coating. Now, honestly, you're not getting many frills or thrills with this one, but it is a really good, solid watch. Now, the Longines comes in at a bit higher of a price, and we're talking about $2,500. But it's a much more dressed up watch for that money. I mean, first of all, you're getting a chronometer grade movement, which is nice. And yeah, it's just a Longines exclusive version of an ETA movement, but it's a 72-hour chronometer. And hey, that's awesome. Now, on top of that, you get, in my opinion, a much more elaborate dial. You get a date complication, a more dressed up bracelet. Looks like it has better fit and finishing. And basically, it's something that presents a bit more like a higher end watch. Now, is it truly better? I mean, look, I haven't had hands-on time with the Spirit. I can only say that it does look nicer in the pictures that I've seen of it and some of the videos that I've seen on it. Now, the downsides of the Longines, it's only 100 meters of water resistance if that's something that matters to you. Now, to me personally, it doesn't. But it's also a fair bit smaller, which may be good or it may be bad, depending on your perspective. So I don't know. I think I'm personally leaning towards the Longines if money and the price difference is irrelevant to you. I wouldn't commit to this 100% until I see that one in person, but I don't know. I think that it's probably a better watch, and I'm sure that this is going to be a very unpopular opinion. I know everybody loves the Sinn 556, and again, I do too. I just think the Longines is nicer.
Will you consider reviewing Chinese-made watches, like the brand San Martin?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've done Chinese watches in the past, and I have nothing against them personally. I'm just, not made of money. I can't buy every single watch on the market to do a video that I want to. And in the case of brands that I'm not personally chomping at the bit to own and to have in my collection, look, I need someone to loan me the watch or for the brand to provide me one for the video. So if there's watches you want me to review, what I would suggest is reach out to those brands via email or social media and tell them that you want to see their products on my channel. Encourage them to reach out to me. Or if you have one of these watches and you think that it would make for a great video, you can shoot me an email. You can always reach me at justbluefish@gmail.com. If you're willing to send it over on a loan for a week or two, I'll absolutely do a video on it.
First a Brewer's hat, now the Wisconsin hat. As a Green Bay native, I love it. I didn't realize you were in Wisconsin.
Now this week, I'm doing my Packers hat for you, buddy. And no, I actually did grow up in Wisconsin, and I lived there for a long time. I grew up in Oconto County, Wisconsin, which is super far north, very near the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. But I did move to Florida when I was about 10 years old, give or take. And I've lived here in Naples ever since. But with that said, I still pull for my Wisconsin teams, of course.
I still think about selling my one good watch, the Rolex Explorer 39mm, for the same reasons you did.
Selling my Rolex Explorer was probably my biggest watch collecting mistake, but so was buying it. It was probably my biggest buying mistake because while I absolutely do love the Explorer dial, it's probably my all-time favorite watch dial. That watch just never really jived with me. I felt like the size and how it wore on my wrist was always a little awkward. And look, I've gone over all of that ad nauseum in the past and on other videos, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. But suffice to say that, yeah, I kind of hated wearing that watch. But selling it was a huge mistake because I sold it way too early. I sold it before the Rolex hype train had even left the proverbial station. I bought that watch when you could walk into an AD and you could buy any Rolex you wanted at any time and you didn't have to wait, except of course the Rolex Daytona. You still couldn't get that back then. But when I sold it, I did lose quite a bit of money. And if I had waited maybe a year or two, I could have definitely made money on that watch. Now that said, a few months later, I was also able to walk into my dealer, authorized Rolex AD, and I was able to buy a Submariner with a 10% discount, if I remember correctly. So I paid about $8,000 for it with tax out the door. And yeah, that was after I sold the Explorer. Had I waited to sell the Explorer, I would have ended up waiting to buy the Submariner, and I would have never have been able to walk into an AD and buy that Submariner. And certainly not for a discount. So I guess the moral of the story is, you win some and you lose some.
I like your content, but the voice is annoying.
Okay, a few of you guys have complained that the Chipmunk voice that I was using for reading the questions was annoying. So let me know, how do you like this robot lady voice instead? Is it better? Let me know, leave a comment down below.
How many watches do we really need? 0. Watches or jewelry?
So this was in reference to a comment about how many watches a person really needs in a collection. And yeah, several people, at least a few, maybe not several, but they wanted to argue the semantics regarding the term want and the term need. And yeah, of course you don't need any watches, but you don't need lots of stuff. Despite that, we still use the term need, and yeah, we often use it hyperbolically to express the same concept as want. But as smart and thinking humans, we can perceive and understand the difference. So, I don't know. I think being pedantic and arguing the semantics of want and need amongst a collector and enthusiast watch community is kind of, goofy. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say goofy in order to keep this discourse friendly. But it's also unnecessary. We know the difference.
I can't decide which Submariner to get. I am not a flashy guy, so I want the stainless steel, but I like the two-tone look. I just don't know if I would feel too self-conscious in it.
Look, this seems like an easy one to me. If you think you're going to be uncomfortable and self-conscious wearing the two-tone sub before you even own it, you are going to be uncomfortable and self-conscious. I wouldn't bother getting one, and I would definitely recommend going with the standard Submariner if you have these reservations already. If the idea of wearing a two-tone Submariner makes you feel subconscious, really, just don't get one. That said, I know a few people that have the Bluesy Submariner. In my opinion, it doesn't come off as flashy or garish or self-indulgent at all. I think it looks classy, and it's a really great watch.
One of the major reasons why I have not started my YouTube channel yet is because I know I would argue with trolls.
Ah, yes, the trolls. I've had quite a few of those and comments from those people in the last few weeks. And in last week's episode in particular, I decided to share a couple of those comments. Now, most of you guys said to just ignore them and, not to quote unquote feed the trolls. Don't address them at all. Don't give them any attention because it does just feed into it. And yeah, listen, I'm sure you're 100% correct. But I don't know, I just can't help myself sometimes when I see someone behaving poorly. Not always, but sometimes I just have to call it out for what it is. And if giving someone's bad behavior attention, even if it's negative attention, is a mistake, what can I say? I'm not perfect, and I can't always ignore it. Now, with that said, regarding this comment, would I ever recommend someone starting a YouTube channel? If you're thinking about it, here's what I have to say. If you can't deal with people calling you every single terrible name you've ever imagined and 100 other things that you can't even imagine yet, no, absolutely don't do it. And if your only goal for doing it is to make money, I would say don't do it. Yeah, you might be successful and you might make money. It is very possible. It's even likely you'll do okay. But if that's your only goal, you will probably be disappointed. You won't make enough money, or it will not be something that you enjoy doing because it's hard work. I mean, only do a YouTube channel if you both love, and I mean love, whatever it is that you're going to be presenting on YouTube. And if you love the idea of producing videos, learning about cameras, learning about production and lighting, learning about video editing and computer software, learning about audio and microphones, and I mean the list goes on and on. Now, if you wanted to make, I don't know, let's just say hypothetically a cooking channel, do it because you love cooking and you love the idea of sharing cooking with other people. And you are also, and this is paramountly important, incredibly interested in learning about video production and content creation, because it's going to be more about that than the cooking.
Since affordable GMTs are now a thing, what do you think the next complication to trickle down into the affordable mechanical space will be?
I think mechanical chronographs will, for sure, become more commonplace below $1,000 and maybe even below $500 at some point in the not-too-distant future. Chinese-made chronograph movements are already out there. They are in some more entry-level watches. So yeah, that probably will eventually proliferate. Now, I also think that Chinese-made tourbillon movements are going to be, or could potentially be, coming on a little bit stronger. They're already hitting some more affordable watches, at least relatively affordable, compared to the super ridiculously expensive Swiss tourbillon watches. I guess the counterpoint to that is, however, I don't think there will ever be a lot of interest or demand in tourbillon movements or tourbillon watches, just like open heart watches. I don't think most people like them all that much. So while the tourbillon could be more widely available in $1,000 and under watches, I just don't know if there's going to be enough demand. So I'm not sure if people will bother making those.
Your point on the lower tier watches was well made. Ultimately, we should purchase what we like and not what others think.
So yeah, this was a comment made in reference to someone suggesting that no one is even really talking about, or by extension really cares about, affordable or lower tier watches. And look, I stand by my perspective that I made in that last video, that's just totally and absolutely not true. Affordable watches drive this industry, at least when it comes to what gets views on YouTube and on my channel. In my experience, it is more entry-level and mid-tier watches. The entry-level and the mid-level watches get much more attention on my channel than the high-end and more esoteric watches. Now, with that said, yes, of course, ultimately we should purchase and wear what we want and what we like. Now, unfortunately, saying that, it does seem like a lot of people actually buy watches, and usually we're talking about luxury and higher-end watches. They're getting these as, status symbols and in an attempt to impress other people. And I don't know, I'm not sure how many people actually even care or even notice what watch you're wearing. I mean, maybe hookers in Las Vegas. But, is that really the people that we're trying to impress here? I certainly hope not. All right, guys, that's going to wrap this one up for today. So as always, let me say thank you for tuning in and watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe as well. And don't forget that I'm going to be doing a giveaway here sometime in the near future. And that's going to include 6 watches plus one of these, the Citizen Suyosa. I can never say that word right. So yeah, if you made it this far, you probably owe me the subscribe anyway. You watched for at least 20 minutes now. So click the button. I would really appreciate it. Now, with all of that said, I guess I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to wrap this one up for today, and I'm going to say bye now.